Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our session today with Imam Adil Shazad. Imam Adil Shazad has just arrived, inshallah. They'll be with us in the next few minutes. The topic that today we will be discussing, inshallah, is respect for ulama, for scholars. Inshallah, we'll talk regarding this. It seems to be an issue. People might think respect for scholars, you respect them or you don't respect them. It's quite simple. So the plan is, inshallah, is to talk about respect for scholars. The reason being is a lot of people always, whether knowingly or unknowingly, can often disrespect ulama, whether it be an issue relating to a madrasa, Eid, something, or so and so is doing it today, Maulvis have to do it the next day. We always say things of disrespect. We're also facing a time now with people, everyone having an opinion on social media, everybody feeling the need to debate anything and everything, any little statement said, people just feel that urge that they have to comment, they have to reply, they have to argue. So that is the reason of the show today. Imam Saab, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the show.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته ومغفرة. Rahid bhai, hariyat hai?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Yourself, how's Ramadan going?
Your du'as, Ramadan is now, I think, into its last 24 hours or so. It's looking increasingly likely that Eid will be on Sunday. Though that is no official announcement. I don't want anyone cropping out this video and then sharing it before the official announcements from the ulama. But it's looking likely that it will be Sunday. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala accept our ibadat in this month of Ramadan. Allah Almighty make it a means of our bakhshish and maghfirat on the day of Qiyamah. Those who are fasted, we make dua that Allah Almighty accept your fasts. And similarly, those who have done tilawat of the Quran, which are the two main acts of worship, yani fasting during the day and tilawat of the Quran by way of day and night, we make dua that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala accepts this from us, inshallah.
Inshallah. So, Imam Saab, I've just done a quick brief introduction regarding the show. I want to start off the show with the Hadith Sharif of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which states the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. So, just before you explain what this Hadith Sharif means, first of all, I just want our users to focus on, firstly, who is saying these words, and secondly, who are they speaking in regards to? So, Imam Sahib, if you can explain to us what that Hadith Sharif means.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Innama yakhsha Allah min ibadihi al-ulama. Amantu billahi sadaqallahu mawlana al-azim. Durood Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Shafi'ina wa Mawlana Muhammadin abdika wa rasulika wa nabiyyika. وَصَلِّ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَالْمُسْلِمِينَ وَالْمُسْلِمَاتِ. Just before we begin, I want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and thanks to Rahid Bhai, Salman Ashrafi, and the rest of the team, Crossroads Podcasts, and Ilm City for inviting myself, giving me this opportunity in these last few moments of Mahir Ramadan to discuss a very important topic in relation to respect for ulama ikaram and taking our religion, our deen from people and from ulama of authority. I just recited a verse from Al-Quran Al-Kareem, Surah Al-Fatir, verse number 28, where Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala says that from amongst His servants, it is those who have knowledge that fear Allah. So Allah Almighty here specifies that the scholars, the ulama, are those individuals who fear Allah Almighty Jalla wa Ala. And no doubt the scholars fulfill the mission of the messengers and the prophets, and khastor the ulama of this ummah are continuing the mission and upholding the great legacy of Lajpal Nabi Kareem Rasool sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And this is what the intention was behind the words of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam when he said that Inna al-ulama'a warathatul anbiya. These are the Arabic words to the Hadith Sharif that you just mentioned in English, that indeed the scholars are the true inheritors of the prophets. Meaning that the scholars, the ulama, they are the individuals who uphold and continue the legacy of the messengers and the prophets. On one occasion, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were in Masjid Nabi Sharif. Yes, the background to this particular narration. And Sayyiduna Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, prominent Sahabi, well known by each and every one of you. Asal naam tha Abdul Rahman. Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was a laqab, a title that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him out of affection. Or Baqaida, he went into the marketplace and began announcing that the Prophet ﷺ is distributing his wirathat, yani distributing his inheritance. O people of Medina, come quickly to Masjid Nabi Sharif. Come quickly to Masjid Nabi Sharif. And the people left everything and made their way towards Masjid Nabi Sharif. And they saw that the Prophet ﷺ, when they arrived at the masjid, and they saw that the Prophet ﷺ, he was sat on Mimbari Rasool, and excuse me, he was educating and teaching those who were mawjood and present in the masjid regarding matters of the deen. And when those who came into the masjid sat down, joined the majlis, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that Inna al-ulama'a warathatul anbiya, that indeed it is the ulama, the scholars, who are the true inheritors of the prophets. Wa innal anbiya'a lam yuwarrithu dinaran wala dirhaman. And the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the messengers, the prophets, they do not leave behind dirham or dinar. Yes, which was the currency of that time. Today we have pounds and dollars. وَإِنَّمَا وَرَّثُوا الْعِلْمَ. Rather, what they leave behind as inheritance is knowledge. What they leave behind as inheritance is knowledge. فَمَنْ أَخَذَهُ أَخَذَ بِحَزٍّ وَافِرٍ. Sorry. The Prophet ﷺ said that whoever takes it, no doubt has taken an ample share. Has taken an ample share. So the scholars are the inheritors of the messengers and the prophets, since they inherit prophetic knowledge, and they continue the mission of the messengers and their prophets. And this inheritance, which comes about by way of knowledge, leads to the pleasure of Allah Almighty Jalla wa Ala. Yes. So their inheritance is inviting to Allah with wisdom and good counsel, patience and tolerance in the face of difficulties, whilst proclaiming the truth and guiding mankind to righteousness. Yes. So you'll find these words in that narration. Similarly, in a narration mentioned in Tirmizi Sharif, Abu Dawud Sharif, Ibn Majah Sharif, where Sayyidina Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is the narrator. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Man salaka tariqan yabtaghi fihi ilman, sahhala Allahu tariqan, sahhala Allahu lahu tariqan ila al-jannati." That Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Allah Almighty will make the path to paradise easy for the one who threads or walks upon a path of seeking knowledge, yani a path in search of knowledge. And the angels will lower down their wings for the seeker of knowledge out of pleasure for what he is doing. And all the creatures of the heavens and the earth, they seek forgiveness for the scholar. Alfaz par tawajjuh, they seek forgiveness for the scholar. Whilst we are busy pointing fingers at our ulama, criticizing our ulama, looking for faults in our ulama, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the seeker of knowledge and the one who has ilm, all the creatures of the heavens and the earth, they seek forgiveness on behalf of that alim, on behalf of that talib ilm. Even the fish in the sea, even the fish in the sea. وَفَضْلُ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ كَفَضْلِ الْقَمَرِ عَلَى سَائِرِ الْكَوَاكِبِ. And the Prophet ﷺ said again words to reflect upon, to listen to carefully. And this is the conclusion at the beginning of our discussion. The Prophet ﷺ said, the superiority of a scholar, of an alim, of an individual who is a warith of the Anbiya, over a worshipper, over an abid, is like the superiority of the full moon over the stars. Of the full moon over the stars. So we learn from these narrations the importance of the rank of the scholars and the status of the scholars. And the scholars, the ulama, they are varithin of the Anbiya. They are the true inheritors of the scholars, and they ultimately fulfill the mission of and continue the mission of the propagation of the oneness of Allah Almighty, which was started by and upheld by the messengers and the prophets. Just to conclude this little segment, the Prophet ﷺ said, Rawahu Tirmizi, that Fadlul alimi ala al-abidi ka fadli ala adnakum. The Prophet ﷺ said the superiority of a scholar over a worshipper is like my superiority over the lowest amongst you. Yes. Can anyone make comparison to Dajjal Nabi Kareem Rasul? No. No, you can't. So just like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's maqam wa martaba is wara'ul wara over his ummah, in the same way the ulama's maqam wa martaba is no doubt great and noble and should be upheld and respected. For indeed they are greater than the worshippers. So my apologies. I know sometimes I have this tendency of going into a bit of a acha kuch nahi, to pehle 5-10 minute na. So hopefully baqaida that answers your question. So we mentioned a verse in the Quran, Surah Al-Fatir, verse number 28, and we looked at the two different narrations regarding innal ulama warathatul anbiya. And then towards the end of this little segment, we've said it is important that we respect and we honor and we uphold the maqam of every alim deen of Sahihul Aqidah within our communities.
Jazakallah for that, Imam Sahib. And yeah, the reason we've got you on the show, Imam Sahib, is because we love you talking. So don't feel the need to hold back. Alhamdulillah, myself and the viewers, we do love the fact that you do talk. And mashallah, that was a very in-depth answer. What I want to move on to now, Imam Sahib, is that why are we in this situation now where people are finding it so easy? If a social media celebrity says something, or what this and that, easy, we take it on board straight away. As soon as the alim deen says something, and recently I myself was viewing one of your Instagrams, you were talking a few valid points which you made, and somebody from the public said, they say things like, oh, the scholars are too hardcore, they don't know what they're talking about. We're very quick to fire shots basically at ulama, but we're very quick to defend our social media celebrities when they say something regarding Islam, even though they be unqualified?
Mm. I think you've answered the question yourself right at the end when you've said that these individuals are unqualified. And basically, it's the blind leading the blind. And when you are led by the blind, it is something which is very difficult to take yourself out of. Because you're blinded by their status, their following, their position, and you're blinded by whatever it is that blinds you, be that something which is divinely decreed. Blindness isn't just necessarily being blind with the eyes, but we have blindness of the heart as well, which is far greater than the blindness of the eyes. And Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala says in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, yes, Surah number 17, Durood Sharif, I'm just looking for the verse. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa shafiyyina wa maulana Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Surah number 17, verse number 72. Quran Majid in front of me. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, وَمَنْ كَانَ فِي هَذِهِ أَعْمَى فَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ أَعْمَى. That those who are blind in this world, they will also be blind in the hereafter as well. So this is what? Blindness of the heart. And when Allah Almighty places a seal on your heart, خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. And then further on, that's talking about the kuffar. Further on, about the hypocrites. فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَلِيمٌ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says they have this illness, this disease in their hearts. And Allah increases this illness and disease within their hearts. And they don't even realize, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2, verse number 10, that in their hearts is a disease. And Allah has increased their disease, and the penalty, the grievous penalty for them is that they are false to themselves. Yes, they are false to themselves. That's the greatest punishment. They think they are guiding others, but in reality, they are misguiding themselves and they are misguiding others. In Arabic, we say, Dal and Mudil. God ke saath. Dal and Mudil. आप खुद गुमराह और दूसरे के लिए गुमराह करने, मेरी बात समझ रहे हो ना? Allah Almighty refers to these, to some verses from the Quran that we're putting together. Allah Almighty refers to these individuals as those who have an illness in their hearts. They think they are doing good, but in reality, they are not doing good. They are doing more damage than the good that they think they are doing. So when these are the people that we look up to, who have this inherent illness and disease within their hearts, and they are blinded by the lust and the luxuries of the dunya, then no doubt the natija is ultimately is the blind leading the blind. मेरी बात समझ लेना. पहली गाल. दूसरी गाल is that no doubt as each and every day passes, we are edging ever closer to the last hour, the day of judgment. Yes, and Nabi Islam said, Bukhari Sharif ki riwayat Kitabul Ilm, Ravi says, Anas bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that inna min ashrati sa'ati an yurfa al-ilmu wa yathbut al-jahlu wa yushrab al-khamru wa yazhar al-zina. Nabi Islam in this riwayat Kitabul Ilm, Nabi Islam said there are 4 minor signs of the last hour. And as we are going through these minor signs, and as you are listening, those who are watching as well, understand and come to the realization whether these signs have actually manifested themselves. Pehli alamat, and the first sign Nabi Islam said, and this Nabi Islam said 1400 years ago, Sadaqta ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you spoke the truth, that ay yurfa al ilmu, the knowledge will be lifted. Yeah, knowledge will be lifted. And what does this mean? You might think that we have books upon books within libraries. We have the internet, we have Google, we have social media. How can it be that knowledge is lifted? And under the commentary of this riwayat, it's mentioned that knowledge will be lifted by the righteous and virtuous ulama leaving the dunya. And they take their knowledge with them. 100 years ago, Sayyidi Ala Hazrat Imam Ahl Sunnat, Mujaddid Deen o Millat, Maulana Shah Ahmad Riza Khan alayhi rahmat wa ridwan. Just after them, you have the likes of Maulana Naeemuddin Muradabadi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, Sadrul Afazil, और इसी तरीके से मुहद्दिस आज़म पाकिस्तान हजरत अल्लामा सरदार अहमद कादरी रहमतुल्लाह ताला अलैह, गजाली दौरान हजरत अल्लामा सैयद सईद अहमद काज़मी रहमतुल्लाह ताला अलैह, पीर करम शाह अल अज़री रहमतुल्लाह ताला अलैह, righteous, virtuous ulama, yes, in the last 100 years or so, who Maulana Shafi Uqari Sahab rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, the list goes on. Ustadul Kul, Ustadul Ulama, Hazrat Ata Muhammad Bandialvi Sahab rahmatullahi alayh, Mufti Abdul Qayyum Hazarvi Sahab rahmatullah. Mountains of knowledge in the Indian subcontinent. Yes, Hamara Ta'alluq or Nisbat is with India and Pakistan. No doubt great scholars from the Middle East as well, from Syria, Damascus, from the great Muslim Yemen, from the Muslim countries in the Middle East as well. We're not dismissing their great contributions to Sunni Islam, but what we find is that khas taur, in the last 100 years ago, these mountains of knowledge, they have left this dunya, and we are left with their students and the students of their students. But can they reach the same level, the same maqam, the same martaba as their teachers? It is not possible. Just as when the walidain, mother and father, leave this dunya, the sons and the daughters, the children don't have the same level of respect. Yani the same level of respect is not given to them. In the same way, when it comes to the students, it's not the same. Yani the caliber of the students are not the caliber of the students of Imam Abu Hanifa's students, like Imam Muhammad Ash-Shaybani and Qadi Abu Yusuf and Imam Zuhar and so on. Meri galum thodi tawil ho rahi hai, lekin is tarike naal knowledge will be lifted. So what we are left with today is not knowledge, we are left with information. Because them level of, and that caliber, high caliber of teachers, they are not there anymore. Yes, knowledge is only knowledge when you sit at the feet of the ulama. Ye yaad rakho. Knowledge is not a speech that you watch on YouTube, or a post that you read on Facebook, or a tweet that you read on Twitter, or an article that you read on the University of Google. This is a knowledge. Knowledge is only ilm and knowledge when you sit at the feet of the ulama, the warithin of the Anbiya, linking the first segment to the second segment. The warithin of the Anbiya, who sat at the feet of their ulama, who then sat at the feet of their ulama, and this chain, musalsal chain, goes all the way back, continuous chain, goes back to Lajpal Nabi Kareem Rasool sallallahu alayhi wa sallam through the Sahaba Ikram. Meri baat samjh rahe ho na?
Ji.
It's not boulders. That an yurfa al ilmu, knowledge will be lifted. And we said, we've explained that this isn't by way of books being destroyed, or by way of knowledge not being accessible, but this is by righteous, virtuous ulama rabbaniyin who leave this dunya. And I mentioned some of their names. Allah Almighty raised their darajat in the akhirah. So if you want to acquire true knowledge, then you have to sit at the feet of the ulama. You have to humble yourself. This is why Imam Malik said. Imam Malik said that al-ilmu laysa bi kathratil riwaya. That knowledge isn't learning an abundance of narrations by heart. These celebrity, what did you refer to them as?
Social media celebrities. These
social media celebrities, they are often individuals who just they just mention and they just do bayan of the verse, or they mention and do bayan of the ahadith mubarakah. Yes, but they don't have an understanding. They lack that deep understanding. For indeed the Prophet ﷺ said that man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fid deen, that whosoever Allah Almighty intends good for, Allah gives that person a deep understanding of the deen. An understanding of the deen comes directly from the Quran. Or ye yaad rakho, Quran itself says what? Yudillu bihi kathiran wa yahdi bihi كثيرا. That this Quran will misguide many, and this Quran will guide many as well. So just because somebody is quoting the Quran, that doesn't make that person an authority. Just because he's quoting Bukhari Sharif, that doesn't make that person an authority. Yes. Rather, that person only becomes an authority, and that person can only be a source of guidance and a source of hidayat in his community when we look at the second part of the call of Imam Malik, which is, what was the first part? Knowledge is not learning an abundance of narrations by heart. Rather, knowledge is a light, a nur, a roshni that Allah Almighty places in the hearts of the believers.
Jazakallah.
And
Jazakallah for that.
Nur in their hearts, that person is a source of guidance. Yes. And then agli baat wo riwayat makane ya your time with thoda hai wa yasqut al jahlu. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says second sign of the last hour is that religious ignorance will prevail. And we see this today. That if we are not satisfied with one Mufti Sahib's answer, we'll go to another Mufti Sahib and we'll make sure the lafafa is a little bit heavier. We'll make sure the hadiyah that we give is a little bit more heavier. And then we'll find that certain Muftiyane Hazrat will bend the rules, will look for loopholes, as similar to what the Jewish rabbis did in Qawm Musa, and what the Jewish rabbis have done since that time, where they have taken out the descriptions of the Prophet ﷺ from the Torah, where they have looked to hide and conceal the truth. We find that certain and we find Saudi Arabia is full of them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about our Sunni Muftiyane Hazrat, abadi pi banda naraz ho jaye. Lekin we find in Saudi Arabia so-called muftis in inverted commas, where they've issued recent fatwas that gambling in casinos is fine, yes, and other vices and evils like this. We find that in Saudi Arabia, where the two Haramain are Makkatul Mukarrama, Al-Madinatul Munawwara, now boxing matches, Anthony Joshua, is it? Anthony Joshua's boxing matches have been held there. WWE, though when we were growing up it was WWF, and we'll always stick to that one. But WWE wrestling matches happening in Saudi Arabia. Is this the reason why Allah Almighty gave us the Hijaz? And then we find in Pakistan as well what is happening. Casinos and cinemas and clubs and pubs being open. Yet the Darul Harbana. This is the West. This is a non-Muslim state and country. But in Muslim, so-called Muslim states and countries, we find that these things are. Why are they happening? It's when the elite within the society and communities, yani the ulama, they begin to compromise upon their principles, and they begin to bend the rules in order to appease the ruling class, the hukmaran and the politicians. Yes, and this is what we find. This is what we find. So religious ignorance will prevail. And ugly gal, third sign, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Yushrab al-khamru." And we can all relate to this. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said the drinking of alcohol will be common. Today we find more youngsters in the clubs and pubs. Obviously pre-lockdown, hopefully not during lockdown. We find more Muslim youth in the clubs and pubs and shisha lounges than we do in the houses of Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala. Yes. And agri gal akhri baat in this riwayat, because I know you're itching to move the interview slightly forward. The wajazhar zina, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, choti alamat. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said what? That there will be a prevalence of adultery, zina. Allah says in the Quran, wala taqrabu zina. Do not come close to zina. Do not even go near zina. But we see now youngsters involved in illicit relationships. Puri raat jagne rehsan, ghair mahram aurat nal discussion karne rehsan, and trying to yani jo kuch you can fill in the blanks of rozena time hai. Eh na hai aur koi gal putti likh ri jaye. Allah maaf karan, Allah maaf karan, Allah maaf karan. Fir aane ji dadi gal karne. Dadi kehri gal hai. These things are happening within our homes, within our communities. These things are now out of the control of parents. Where we find youngsters standing on street corners buying and selling drugs. Sare-aam in this month of Ramadan, though probably we've not seen it as much this year as opposed to previous years. But youngsters, Sare-aam, when they should be fasting and observing the fasts during the day, we find them eating chicken and chips from Chesty or Chester's. Chester's, is it in Blackburn when you come in?
That's the one, yeah.
Chester's.
Yeah.
And you find them smoking, and we're not judging anyone. Lekin Shariat is Shariat. Nobody is above Quran and Sunnah. Nobody is above Quran and Sunnah. So it's important that we understand that we don't take our deen from these social media celebrities who are empty and hollow inside. They are motivated only by their numbers, and they are only the only means of drive is through the attention that they gather from the people. I'm not saying don't have social media accounts. ऐसा कोई भी है, लेकिन अच्छे तरीके नाल इस्तेमाल करो. Don't allow what you are saying to be a means of misguidance. Like we've seen over the last several years, certain individuals, I will only refer to him as a DM, and DM here doesn't mean direct message. Those who know, yes, and people like him as well. Others I can name and shame, but again, iftar na waqt hai, maqsad ye nahi that we start naming and shaming. Aap khud pehchan rakho. Apni zaban samjhe na usne, your viewers, I think.
Yes.
Patwari, Mirpuri, har banda samjh raha hai, especially if you're from our ends. That pehchan rakho, asal aur nakal ki pehchan rakho. Yes, that's all it comes down to. That who are ulama-e haq, who are those who uphold Aqidah Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'at, who are those who uphold the honor of Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his ashab and his al and the Awliya Kamilin, and who are those who look to criticize them. Today we have these wolves in sheep clothing in our Jama'at as well, on Sunni stages, be that in the form of Pirane Hazrat, Ulama Ikram, Nathwan or balki Notkhwan Hazrat. Yes, we find these things common now in our Sunni awam and Sunni circles as well. So this is why pehchan rakho, itna hi pegham hai. Pehchan rakho between haq and batil. Just like when we go to Debenhams or we go to, give me some posh shop.
Topman, I think so.
Topman and Marks and Spencer. When we go to these shops, straight away we can understand whether that Gucci jumper is fake or whether it's real. Kyun pehchan hai na? Pehchan hai na? But when it comes to knowledge and the knowledge of the deen especially, we have watered things down. We have lowered the bar and the standards such that we have become desperate to turn towards these social media celebrities. And this is why refrain from such individuals. Look, there are still ulama haq, ulama rabbaniyin. Look for them, know who they are, have pehchan. Alhamdulillah, in India we have Shaykhul Islam wal Muslimin, Hazrat Allama Sayyid Madni Miya Sahab, their younger brother, Ghazi Millat, Hazrat Allama Sayyid Hashmi Miya Sahab. In Pakistan, we have Amir Ahl Sunnat, Maulana Ilyas Ata Qadri. Ume har bande ni izzat aur ihtaram karna wa. I am alhamdulillah somebody who can say this with happiness and pride that tariqatan nisbatan I am Naqshbandi Mujaddadi, but I love and respect all the shuyukh of the Qadri silsila, Chishti silsila, Shazli silsila, Rafai silsila, because this is the tarbiyat and this is the ta'aleem that our ulama and our shuyukh have given us. This is why it's important that we don't divide the Sunnis, rather we look to tolerate and unite the Sunnis. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala try to, we ask Allah Almighty to give us the true understanding in relation to taking our deen from the right sources. I think that summarizes that second point. Taking the deen from the right sources, the right authorities. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala keep us steadfast upon Aqidah Ahli Sunnati wal Jama'ah.
I mean, Jazakallah for that, Imam Saab. And just a valid point, which I want to reiterate, which you mentioned, we're not saying don't keep social media accounts, like you just said. If you want to view somebody who's got fast cars and you want to watch them, that's fine. But take your deen from the ulama haq. Don't take it from anybody and everybody online. And also, like, come back, respect.
ये भी जरूरी है to say मैं माजरत चाहना ये भी जरूरी है that if you have a sahihul aqida alim deen imam in your locality, then it's important that you go to them, you sit with them, and you take the deen from them. Yes, don't take your deen from YouTube and Sheikh Facebook and Maulana Twitter, inverted commas. Some people have just, and itne log, what do you call it, yani so distant from the deen. The reason why we started slightly late was somebody just rang me from Bolton, and he goes that वैसे galo see, I don't know who he is, how he got my number. Lekin he asked me, I've got so many books from Darus Salam publication house hai na ek?
Yeah.
And he goes, what do I do? And he goes, I've got the translation of the Quran as well. So I told him to turn to Surah number 40, Balkani, Surah number 93, verse number 7. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى. Yes, and many who have translated the Quran have, in English, mistranslated the Quran. This particular Baqaida verse of the Quran, should I say. Yes. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًا فَهَدَى. Those who have mistranslated the Quran, they have translated this particular verse, that ma'adallah, we found you lost, or we found you unaware, and then we guided you, referring to Lajpal Nabi Kareem Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, and when you look at Sayyidi Ala Hazrat's translation, be that in Urdu or English, we found you immersed in our love, and we brought you closer to us. Yes, farq samjo. So it's important, it is important that we have this pehchan of asal and naqal, and that if you find a Sahihul Imam, Alim Deen in your locality, or even if you have to travel, then you must sit with them, you must seek your knowledge from them. Because of this lockdown, coronavirus situation, mashallah, Ilm City, Crossroad, podcasts, mashallah, we have other Sunni Prophet. Last night, Hashmi Sounds with Hamza Ashrafi from Blackburn. Mashallah, we've seen that ulama are not shy from embracing modern technology and from embracing innovative ways of educating and propagating the deen. But what you gain from sitting in the company of the scholars, you will not gain by sitting in the comforts of your homes whilst looking at a screen, be that your laptop or your smartphone. So the barakat, the barakat that you get from sitting at the feet of the ulama, you will not gain this by sitting at home and following these social media celebrities. Yes, so we find that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ala inna sharra sharri shirarul ulama." Yes, wa anna khayri khiyarul ulama. Ye Darmi Sharif ki riwayat, the Nabi Islam said that the worst evil is misguided scholars. Yes, the worst evil is misguided scholars, and the best form of goodness is rightful scholars. Rightful scholars. Yeah. Similarly, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ulama'uhum sharru man tahta adim as-sama'i min 'indihim takhruju al-fitnatu wa fihim ta'udu." The Prophet ﷺ said, from amongst the signs of the last hour is that learned men will be the worst people under the heavens. Corruption will come from them. Corruption will come from them as well. And again, we see this in our community. We see this in the world we live in. That you have righteous ulama, good ulama, who uphold aqidah khatm al-nubuwwat, who uphold aqidah tahaffuz namus risala, who uphold the honor of Ali Rasul. And similarly, they sacrifice their lives in order to uphold the teachings of the Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'at. But then we find those who are the worst of scholars, the worst of ulama, in our day and age, where they criticize the likes of Imam Jalaluddin As-Suyuti and Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani and Imam Zarqani and others, Imam Ghazali and Pirane Pir Sayyidina Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani and Ma'adallah, Thumma Ma'adallah. Again, as I mentioned earlier, to emphasize the point, we have so-called Sunni scholars, Muftiyane Hazrat, Pirane Hazrat, will criticize Sahaba Ikram, bil khusus their deep-rooted agenda against Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and his father Sayyidina Abu Sufyan radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and the Ahlul Bayt Athar and the Ahl of Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is why, to emphasize the point again, pehchan rakho between asal and naqal, and always look to sit in the company of Sahihul Aqidah ulama who are deep rooted in the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and in the love of his noble companions and his family members and the awliya kamilin and the ulama rabbaniyin.
Jazakallah for that. Imam Saab, moving on to the next point. Sorry, one of my kids just creeped into the room. I had to take him into the room.
I've done the best thing, which is lock the door. Most of my lectures are from my office or box room here in the house. So first day she came running in, my young daughter Aiza. फिर उस तो बाद में बुड्ढी क्या है चाबी लोर बेहतरिया लक लाने हैं. तो सत्य जाहिर I think you've got your system set up downstairs.
Ji. So I didn't take it through, but chalo, inshallah, I might implement the lock system. But Imam Sahib, a few people are wishing for you to speak on the following, which is part of our lecture as well, is regarding people they're known as keyboard warriors who just love to debate online. You know, nothing's been said, something straightforward said, but they just want to debate. You know, I think we've already had a few comments of that sort already on our channel today, even though we in the first 5-10 minutes. So why do people feel the need that just because they're on social media behind a screen they can say things which they wouldn't normally say to somebody, you know, in the person? Where has this disease come from? What is the reason for it? What advice would you say regarding this as well?
I think this obviously is part of the fitna of the times that we live in, khas or the power that social media has given to the average Zaid, Bakr and Khalid, yes, where they feel that they are given this authority and right to pass judgment and comment on any matter, and sadly and unfortunately in relation to the deen as well. And we've seen this, though I don't think we'll have much in terms of Eid wars. Moon wars? Moon wars.
Yeah.
We won't have many moon wars this year, but we've seen in previous years, especially when testimonies have been taken from Nigeria. Yes, we've seen in previous years that rather than respecting the decision of the ulama, the average Zaid, Bakr and Khalid, as they say in English, Tom, Dick and Harry, yes, they think that they have a right to pass judgment on what the ulama say. And remember, the ulama are in a position, like we mentioned right at the beginning, ulama in a position where they have a superiority over the average worshipper. Remember the narrations we mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
So it's important that if the ulama, especially when there is a consensus amongst the ulama, though we find this very rare in the day and age that we live in, because we have so many different pockets of organizations and groups of scholars, and that's a discussion for another day. I don't want to open Pandora's box and, you know, what do you call it, badi mere par koi fatwa lai ho raha hai. Waise asani jaan bhi nahi chhodne. Hasad is a deep rooted illness of the heart. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala protect us from these things. The कहने का मकसद ये है that social media has given this right to the average Zaid Bakr and Khalid, that they feel that they can pass their judgment on matters of the deen, when in reality they are not qualified to do so. Yes, not qualified to do so. Just studying a few books or reading a few articles on Google or watching a few speeches by prominent ulama doesn't give you the right to pass judgment on the matters of the deen. Yes, rather, even when it comes to in regards to any contentious issues, deep-rooted issues which require a bit of understanding, I would say even myself, I'm the first person, and those who know me, if I have the knowledge, I will give the knowledge. But if I don't have the knowledge, I'll be the first to say, brother, leave it with me. Let me consult the books. Let me consult my teachers. I will get back to you. Yes. And Imam Malik, again, coming back to them, they said the 9/10 of knowledge is saying, I do not know. 9/10 of knowledge isn't copy and paste. Which is what a lot of people do, copy and paste. And what we should realize is that if somebody is sharing a religious post, that doesn't make them religious. So you've got to look at whether these people have any, if somebody is on the same level as you. Bill Fars, I've studied just a little bit of background, 5 years, Dars in Nizami, there or thereabouts, be that in Jamia al-Karam, or before Jamia al-Karam, we start with our Honorable Sheikh Tariqat Qibla Qazi, Mufti Hassan Raza Sahab, who are based here in Bradford. Yes, we started the basics of Sarf and Nahw with them. Yes, so 5 years, and then working in the field, 18 months in London, and then 3 years in Bolton, and now, alhamdulillah, during that time, we've had the opportunity to open Al-Hikam Institute, and then now currently doing Jumas in Oldham at the Greengate Jami Masjid, and we also teach at the Greengate Islamic College. Even myself, I would say that I'm no authority. If I had a mas'ala, an issue, I would refer to the likes of Mufti Nizamuddin, for example, Mufti Shamsul Huda Sahab, who you've had, and Mubarakbad, mashallah, you've had them regularly throughout this month of Ramadan on the Q&A sessions in the evenings on Crossroads Podcast and Ilm City. So it again comes down to that individual. People who don't have knowledge portray themselves as though they are Shaykh al-Islam, or they are a leading authority. Do kitaba parita bas apne aap ke bare samjhne. This is in the public domain. And then you have those who hide behind the screen, like you refer to them, keyboard warriors, Facebook vigilantes, social media moles, M-O-L-E-S, moles, yeah. And because they think that nobody knows where I live, nobody knows me in the community and society, and very common with these people who are, I'm sorry to say, probably lowering my standard of speaking, they are saddos. They are saddos. And some would even go as far as saying they are weirdos. And apni shakal tak, apni auqat tak. That you don't even know the faraid of wudu. You don't even know, make sawal puchna, main itna padhya likha hua na, that they won't even know the difference between musnid and musnad. These are basic terms of usulul hadith. Yes? Una kule sawal pucho na. And the putara, what's the difference between musnid and musnad? The uttha unani tuso jasi. Patai koni regarding the deen. And then very common amongst these people is that they have 2, 3, 4 accounts, what we call fake accounts. And all they like to do is shararat, shararat, shararat. Tiri lane, ag layone, picha hoy jane.
And this is also a sin as well, Imam Sahib, like causing issues, like debating. It's a form of a sin, isn't it? Causing mischief.
Anyone who seeks knowledge in order to dispute with the foolish, or to show off in the company of the learned, or to attract the attention of the people towards himself, Nabi Islam said, فَهُوَ فِي النَّارِ.
that person will be thrown into the fires of Jahannam. And this narration is mentioned in Ibn Majah Sharif in the preface, in the introduction to the book. And this summarizes everything we've just discussed. Number one, Nabi Sallallahu said what? If he seeks knowledge in order to dispute with the foolish. This is why Allah says in the Quran, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا, that when an ignorant jahil person addresses you, don't entertain them, don't dispute or debate them, because you'll fall down to their level, shallow, low level. And then what should you do? Allah says, rather than disputing or debating or discussing any matter with them, what you should do is you should simply say salam. That's it. Qalu salama. Pehli gal, dusri gal, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the one who uses his knowledge to show off in the company of the learned. And again we find people, do kitaba parite, tre kitaba parite, and they try to be something that they're not. Bari pag like and their pag will be a means of ag on the day of Qiyamah. They'll be thrown into the fires of Jahannam. This is why often I say that the greatest quality of knowledge is humility, ajazi, inkasari. If you don't have humbleness and you display your arrogance, be that through your bayanat, be that through your comments on social media, whether you're learned, whether you're not learned, if all you are interested in is showing and demonstrating your arrogance to the people, then we know the words of the Prophet ﷺ, that individual who has even an atom's worth of arrogance in his or her heart, that person will not smell the fragrance of Jannatul Firdaus. Ajizi, humility and humbleness is important. And number three, like we mentioned earlier, social media celebrities, those who attract people's attention to themselves. And we find this common. This is not sincerity, that if somebody is taking their deen from another alim deen of Sahih Aqidah, or is going to sit in the gathering of another scholar of Sahih Aqidah, or is going to another masjid to read his namaz, Sunni masjid, this would not be sincerity, that you ask that question, why are you sitting with him? Why are you going to that masjid? This is not ikhlas. And anyone who has these traits and these descriptions within them, fahuwa finnar, as we said, that person will be thrown into the fires of Jahannam. So my sincere advice for brothers and sisters, yes, you have a right to ask questions. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah says in the Quran that ask the people of dhikr. Dhikr here referring to the people of knowledge, ulama, if you do not know. Miftahul ilmi sawalun. The Arabs have this proverb that the key to knowledge is questioning. Ask questions, that is your right. But when you enter into debate, when you enter into this state of arrogance which blinds you, and when you enter into this state where you feel you can say what you want, do what you want, then your hashar, your resurrection on the day of Qiyamah will not be a pleasant one. Will not be a pleasant one. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, and I end upon this before we move on to the next question. Famous narration: "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir, falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." The Prophet ﷺ said, Bukhari Sharif ke alfaz, that whosoever believes in Allah and whosoever believes in the last day should speak good or remain silent. Similarly, another narration came to mind. The Prophet ﷺ said that min husni islamil mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'ni. Tirmizi Sharif ki riwayat, Nabi Sallallahu said, it is from amongst the beauty of a person's Islam that he leaves that which does not concern him. He leaves that which does not concern him. Yes. So if the scholars have passed a ruling, a judgment, if they've made a decision, don't become a foolish individual. Don't embarrass yourselves by getting into this habit of, weirdos. Yeah, may somebody with me. If you really want to comment on the deen, sit with your scholars, sit with the ulama, go to the madaris in this country, Sufatul Islam, Faizan Medina Dawat Islami network of the madaris, Jamia al-Karam, Mufti Aslam Badialvi Sahib here in Bradford who teach, ulama who are doing great work up and down the country, sit with them, seek knowledge. Then if you have the keys to the to ilm, then you're in a position to give your verdicts and make your judgment. If not, remain silent. Chup raho, chup raho. Is which khairat hai, is which barakat hai. The ek adab ka bhi daira hunda na. If you're going to question, then do it within the means of adab. Na salam, na dua, na pehchan, na shakal, na akal. Bashi loka ne samne, and ulama ikram ne samne what we call it istiknal. Apne aap ki bare samjhne. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala destroyed those who are arrogant before, and no doubt Allah will destroy those who are arrogant in our time as well. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala keep us all fair upon Sirat al-Mustaqim and Aqidah Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah.
Ameen. Jazakallah. And Imam Sahib, there are a few points that I wanted to go into, but we won't go into them. Alhamdulillah, because you've kind of covered them. But I want to finish off on something which is very important, and it's part of the deen. Ulama say it's a big aspect of the deen, and that is respect and adab. And the amount of you've done a full talk just a few days ago on this platform regarding prophetic character, but how high does Islam hold respect and adab, be it for the scholars, for parents, for your neighbors, family members? I just want to finish off on this, because if we could implement on this, then inshallah we could have a positive impact on keyboard warriors calming down as well.
Adab is the bunyad of our deen. Is jumle par gaur karo. That adab can not really be translated into English. The Arabic language is so vast, but we say etiquette or respect, reverence. Yes. So having adab is the bunyad of our deen. For what led to the destruction of shaitan was a lack of adab. Yes. Shaitan had knowledge. Shaitan had knowledge, so much knowledge that he was from amongst the teachers of the angels. And shaitan also had worship as well. Worship as well. 5,000 years he worshipped Allah Almighty. And there is not a single place on this earth where he didn't do sajda to Allah. But when Allah Almighty gave the hukam to the malaika, including shaitan, to prostrate to Abu Bashar Adam alayhi salam, what did shaitan do? Shaitan said, Ana khayrun minhu. I am better than him. He is made from clay and I am made from fire. And what is it that destroyed shaitan? It was a lack of adab and a lack of respect. Yes. So what led to the downfall of shaitan was this arrogance and pride within him. And sadly, unfortunately, we find this across the board within our communities. That if Allah has blessed us with wealth, rather than humbling ourselves, we have this arrogance and pride. If Allah has blessed us with knowledge, rather than humbling ourselves, we have this arrogance and pride. And if Allah Almighty has blessed us with a family status, rather than humbling ourselves, we get bogged down with arrogance and pride. Yes. So it's important that we understand that the bunyad of our deen is adab. वो फारसी में कहने ना बे अदब बे नसीब ba adab ba nasib. That the one who has adab, he is successful, and the one who doesn't have adab, he will be unsuccessful. So the foundation of our deen is based upon adab. As a believer, adab towards Allah, adab towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran teaches us about the importance of adab Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. In Surah Al-Hujarat, Surah number 49, right at the beginning, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says what? That Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tarfa'u aswatakum fawqa sawtin nabi wa la tajharu lahu bil qawli ka jahri ba'dikum li ba'din an tahbata a'malukum wa antum la tash'urun. Iman walo, all those of you who believe, do not raise your voices above the voice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we see this lack of adab, this be'adabi from average laymen when they go to Al-Madinatul Munawwara
when they present themselves in front of the Muwajah Sharif, rather than humbling themselves, rather than being in a state of humility and adab, in a state of reverence and respect, we find that people are busy making videos, taking pictures. Bare bare peer, bare bare Maulvi standing with the Gumbad-e Khazrashi behind them, with the peer and the murid gild, and then taking pictures, putting it up on social media. Murids from all over the world coming to meet Peer Sahib. Aisi peeri par lanat ho hai. I'm sorry to say, तुसने आंख खुली गया ना, पता नहीं सोचने उसे इमाम साहब की रोजा चढ़ी गया, लेकिन ऐसी लानत हो है. And that you go there and all you are interested in is your own popularity and fame, and your own social media status, and your own following. Some of these peers, unfortunately, they have a full marketing team. Log, what do you call it? Prashan ho jane. And then Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says in the Quran, no, speak aloud to him in talk. When you speak aloud to one another, ugly gal, an tahbata a'malukum wa antum la tash'urun. But if you were to do this, then your deeds would be destroyed, your deeds would become in vain, and you will not even understand. You think the bari bari dari rakhi hai, the Imam Sharif light hai, the lokane samne pesh hona, that this will be my salvation. No, Allah will look at our hearts on the day of Qiyamah, and if in your heart you have even an iota, an atom's worth of bi'adabi, enmity, hatred towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, towards his ashab, these individuals who ma'adallah thumma ma'adallah mimbar Rasul par beeta, they are criticizing those companions who have been given guarantee of Jannat by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can we possibly take our deen from them? We find these charlatans and fraudsters within the Ahli Sunnati wal Jamaat, and most certainly those who are not within the Ahli Sunnati wal Jamaat as well. Like I mentioned earlier, pehchan rakho between asal and naqal. So adab is the foundation of our deen. Adab for Allah, respect for Allah, respect for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, respect for his companions, respect for his family members, respect for the awliya kamilin. Today we see certain doctors on TV, Muhammadur Rasulullah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The log kehne ji bada doctor hai ji, bada doctor hai. That this individual has so much knowledge. Surah number 19, verse number 16, and his asaliyat has now become known by the people. Similarly, we have certain scholars from Pakistan, Maulanas, without taking names on your podcast in our YouTube infringement right kariyo na, crocodile tears. The log kano ji bari takreer karne, and an insan ke liye ishara kafi hai. And these people mesmerized, and we find, but this is the very same individual. If you look at his clips on YouTube, he did bi'adabi and ghustahi of Imam Ali Maqam, Nawasai Rasul, Nabi ka Noor Ain, Imam Hussain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, making dua and saying, Ya Allah, ma'adallah, summa, Ya Allah, thalla aao, ta main tusne pehra vich paisa. Is tarike nal alfaz, asali qawm, anni awam. Wo Arabi vich kehne na, al-awamu kal-anam. That the awam, the public is like cattle. Jitha waah janiya, utha awam janiya ji. Koi hosh nahi, koi nihar nahi, koi asal aur naqal nahi, pehchan nahi. And then we find amongst our youngsters following people like Mufti Meng, people like Ustad Nu'man Ali Khan, Yasir Qadi and others, whose Aqidah is in question, whose Aqidah is in doubt, who have made blasphemous statements against Lajpal Nabi Kareem Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you want to take your deen from them? Why? Because their style of speaking appeals to you, it appeases you, their humor is something that you can relate to. Nabi Islam said, the eloquence of a person's speech is a form of magic. Yes. Islam does not look at numbers. Islam doesn't look at quantity. Islam looks at quality. Banda kallai khalta hua hai, like Imam Hussain at Karbala, Imam Ali Maqam Nawasai Rasul with his family members stood alone at Karbala, but he upheld the truth. He upheld the religion of his Nana Jan, Lajpal Nabi Karim Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Like today, what do we find? Rather than speaking the truth, upholding the truth, and supporting those who speak the truth, we just simply say, oh, Maulvi Dada ho gaya ji, Maulvi Sakht ho gaya ji. Or you can't walk upon the path of the deen, and you look for an easy way out by simply saying, oh ji, Maulvi Dada ho gaya, deen Dada ho gaya. Problem is, you've not studied the deen. So we were looking at the discussion and the last question of this discussion, which is the importance of adab. What led to the downfall of shaitan, the destruction of shaitan? And why did he become ar-rajim? It was because of his lack of adab. And I just want to end by mentioning what Imam Ghazali says regarding the etiquette of the student from his famous work, Bidayatul Hidayah, the beginning of guidance. They said that if you are a student, then the manners of a student with the teacher are, number one, you should be the first to greet and offer the salutation of peace to your teacher. And yabda'ahu bit-tahiyyati was-salam. Don't wait for the ustad to give salam first. You as a student should give salam first. Number two, do not speak too much in the presence of the teacher. This is why the ulama say what? That when you're in the presence of an alim-e-deen, control your tongue, because you might say something which is against Quran and Sunnah. You might make halal into haram, haram into halal. And they said that when you sit in the presence of a wali-e-kamil, not a wali, wali. When you sit in the presence of a wali, then you should control your heart. You should control your heart, because a wali can see through the nur that Allah Almighty has granted. Ittaqu firasat al-mu'min fa innahu yanzuru bi nurillah. Yes. Number three, they said that you should not speak unless asked something by the teacher. Masla hai, har banda ustad banna chana, koi banda shagird nahi banna chana. Kya in English? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. ये दौर है आजकल. हर बंदा ना जी मैं बड्डा वा जी, मैं बड्डा वा. यार उहे गाल आई गया अपनी शक्ल तक पहले. ए निक्की जी एक फिंगर दाढ़ी रखी तो लोग है कि बेईमान बनाने, तो लोग है कि बेवकूफ कराने. मैं उन इतनी गल ना छेड़ना चाहना. I've already said enough. I can imagine the feedback you're getting. You're probably taking half the comments off. Number four, not to ask questions without first seeking permission. This is a school which we put our hands up. Islam teaches us these etiquettes. Ajkal, excuse me, miss, pardon, sir, can I ask a question? And when it comes to the scholars, you think you can, without even giving salam. I have people who message me on social media. Na salam, na dua, na akal, na shakal. Basji, what do you think about this? गुस्सा ना चढ़ा तो क्या चढ़ा बंदे की. असल में इंसान ही है ना. Imams are not infallible. Ulama are not, yani is tariqe na sinless or ma'soom. Only the Anbiya and Mursaleen are ma'soom. Asa could be what you call is tariqe na hoi jani hai galti. Akhlaqan, kirdaran, sulukan. Lekin khair, aakhri gal pesh karne hai. That Imam Ghazali says that you should not, as a student, you should not think of yourself more learned than the teacher. These are very important points Imam Ghazali mentions around 1,000 years ago. Imam Ghazali left this dunya, Hujjatul Islam, in the year 505 AH. And they said that you should not contradict your ustad, your teacher, by saying that such a scholar says this. Yani, apni rai na pesh karo. If you're going to become a student, then humble yourselves in the presence of your teacher. When you sit in the gatherings of the student, of the teacher, as a student, you should not talk to another student in his gathering. You should not look around. You should not become distracted. Rather, when you sit in the gathering of the teacher, you should have good manners. Your eyes should be downcast, as though you are sat in the ritual prayer. If this is the etiquettes and adab of how we should be in the presence of our teachers, then how do you think we should be in a gathering where the Prophet ﷺ is mawjood and present? Yani, ye hamara aqeeda hai na, an-nabiyyu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim. Wherever the dhikr of Rasulullah ﷺ is happening, no doubt Nabi ﷺ is aware of that. But what do we find in our gatherings of Milad Sharif? खुर 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 कदा इधर कदा उधर बाहर जाने सिगरेट पीने कदा मोबाइल फोन पर लगे हुए होने कदा बस put your hands in the air like it's a pop concert बेहतर ये मैं इथे ही रह गया वरना यानी लोग फिर नाराज हो जा सकते this is why adab is the bunyad of our deen. Yes,
Sure.
Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala allows to be from amongst those who have adab for our teachers, for our elders, for our ulama, and ultimately Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala allows to have adab for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his noble companions, and Ali Rasul, the family of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the awliya Kamilin as well. Once again, bahut shukriya to Rahid Bhai, mashallah. Second discussion we've had during lockdown on this platform, and wallahi, I've only met you the once, but I love you for the sake of Allah Almighty. Yaqeenan, I will say this not because to stroke your ego in any way, but every time you've rung me, every time you message, what we've just talked about now, you upheld the utmost etiquettes and adab. And if I was to give you £1 every time you said sorry to me, when you messaged me, mashallah, you'll probably be half £1,000,000 better. This is your love, your muhabbat, and yaqeenan every Sunni Nojawan who has Sahih Aqidah, we love them for the sake of Allah Almighty Jalla wa'ala. Asal pehchan aqeede nahi hai na. Pehchan is not your Pir or Murshid. Pir or Murshid ek wasila, wasta hai. Lekin asal pehchan aqeeda hai. And as I've said many times before, and again I will say it on this platform, that do not compromise on your aqeeda. Do not sell out on your aqeeda. Do not be distracted by the bright shining lights of these social media celebrities, and compromise your aqeeda and your beliefs and your principles. Usul ni gal hai yaar. Do not compromise your principles for these individuals. Yes. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala keep us time upon Aqidah Ahli Sunnati wal Jamaat. And once again, Allah Almighty bless you, Rahid Bhai. I know you've been slightly distracted by your Yani Sabzat, the coolness to your eyes, but nevertheless, hopefully this discussion has been productive, beneficial. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala allow us to respect our ulama. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala allow us to honor our ulama. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala allow us to become true seekers and students of knowledge. Ameen bijahi Nabi al-Karim.
Ameen. Just before you go, Imam Saab, I just want to let the viewers be aware. You mentioned the kitab of Imam Ghazali, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. You've also done a few talks regarding this kitab. Where can the viewers watch them talks? Because I do know
between myself and Hazrat Allama Sayyid Samdani Mia from Bolton, and the last talk is tomorrow just before iftar time. Al-Wadud Academy, I think he was one of the first peoples to comment. Tawheed Bhai from Ba'li, very sincere Mukhlis brother, similar to yourself, very respectful Muaddab, and I've got a lot of time for him and all those who have the necessary level of love and muhabbat. But Al-Wadud Academy, be that Facebook page, YouTube channel, or similarly my Deen and Dunya YouTube channel as well. We have had 4 lectures over the last 4 weeks in Ramadan. The last one will be tomorrow, inshallah, Azza wa Jal, around 7 p.m. So we've gone through part 2 and part 3, yani the sins of the limbs, the sins of the hearts, and also the importance of companionship and having the etiquette of companionship with the Creator and with the creation. Al-qawlu fi adab al-suhbati wal-mu'asharati ma'al-khaliqi wal-khalqi. So again, this is a good book to buy. Often brothers ask us about books. Which book should we buy, brothers and sisters who are watching? And so this is Bidayatul Hidayah by White Thread Press, the beginning of guidance. Very good book to have. Similarly, in terms of books, by way of guidance, so you don't buy the wrong books. Our Honorable Ustad, Mufassir Quran, Shari Bukhari, Bani of Jami al-Karam, they have a number of books. Hazrat Allama Muhammad Imdad Hussain Pirzada. All you have to do is type in Al-Karam Publications. Al-Karam Publications, and they have a number of books on a variety of subjects, including parts of the Quran which have been translated and a commentary of it in English as well. and they've also released the first part of the commentary to Bukhari Sharif as well, in English. So rather than just reading Mohsin Khan's translation of Bukhari, and akhi, but just get your khas right, huh? Akhi, loke ki befoof banane waste, it's important that you take your knowledge from the right sources, from people of authority. And alhamdulillah, our honorable Ustad Sahab, Qibla Pirzada Sahab, who has done a great service to the Muslims in this country. Over 400 ulama, imams, brothers and sisters have sought the deen from the fountain of Jami al-Karam, serving in masajis up and down the country. And similarly, in terms of literature, they have done a great service to the Sunni Awam in this country. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala preserve them, grant them a long and healthy life. And again, we respect each and every alim-e-deen, each and every organization. But the condition is what? They have to be a full aqidah bas. Kyun? Gal sari sarkar diya na.
Bilkul, 100%.
Gal sari sarkar diya. Yaqinan, I have a lot of love for Dawat-e-Islami. I went to their center in Birmingham just before the lockdown. They showed a lot of love and muhabbat. And they have this deep-rooted love. And I know y'all, nisbat is with Amir al-Sunnat as well. And this comes from that. And this tarbiyat of Dawat-e-Islami. They have this deep-rooted love and adab for the ulama. And the work that they're doing on ground level, grassroots work that they're doing is unprecedented. And we need to support Dawat-e-Islami, support our ulama-e-haq, support our institutions. Sufatul Islam, Dangri Sharif here in Bradford, Qibla Pir Habibur Rahman Mahboobi, they are doing some great work as well. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala preserve them. Mufti Shamsul Huda Sahib from Hekman Waik, and the list goes on. Lekin Rozina time kareeb hai, to saki un zahir gal thakke ho so ki Maulviyan ni galan suniya.
I was just going to request Imam Sahib, mashallah, the viewers have been with us from start to end, if you could just do a dua for, because it is being close to the end of Ramadan as well. So
it could be the penultimate fast today. Aaj aakhri Laylatul Qadr ki raat bhi hai. Inshallah, we'll have a live transmission from Al-Hikam Institute on my Facebook page from around 11 p.m. Bas main darkhast karna tusa mere waste bhi dua mango inshallah on this babarkat raat. مختصر دعا مانگنے اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا وشفينا ومولانا محمد كما تحب وترضى وأن تصلي عليه. ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وزدنا حكمة والحمد لله على كل حال. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن دعاء لا يسمع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. اللهم اغفر لنا قبل الموت وارحمنا عند الموت ولا تعذبنا بعد الموت ولا تحاسبنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا حنان يا منان يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. We make sincere dua for each and every person who is watching this live transmission on Crossroad podcast, YouTube channel, Facebook page. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you shower your mercy, blessings, khas, karam, rahmat upon each and every one of us. Brother and sisters who are watching, Ya Allah, we ask of you, if any of them are suffering from any difficulties, hardships, remove their difficulties and hardships for them. Ya Allah, we ask of you, if they have any neck hajat, fulfill their neck hajat for them. Jo parshaniyan, Ya Allah, we ask of you, remove them parshaniya for them. Ya Allah, we make dua in these last few moments of Mahi Ramadan, that you continue to shower your mercy, blessings, khas, karam, rahmat upon each and every one of us, upon our parents, upon our children, upon the Muslim Ummah. Our walidain who are alive, give them long and healthy lives. Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayana saghira. And our walidain who have left this dunya, one of them or both of them, raise their darajat in the akhirah. Our children, make them the goodness to our eyes, make them farma badar, make them, Ya Allah, firm upon the sirat mustaqim. Allow them to uphold the teachings of Aqidah Ahli Sunnati wal Jama'at. Ya Allah, whatever we have discussed throughout this discourse, this lecture, we ask of you, give us the tawfiq to do amal upon this, give us the tawfiq to implement this into our lives. Allow us to become those individuals who remove the stench of arrogance and pride from our hearts, and allow us to become those individuals who place the nur, the roshni of Iman and Islam within our hearts. Ya Allah, we ask of you that you forgive us for our minor and major sins, gunaho ki adat, chura mere Mola, hame neek insan bana mere Mola. Ya Allah, the time of iftar is nearly upon us. Whatever neek du'as we have within our hearts, you alimum bidati sudur, accept them neek du'as in your bargah. Ya Allah, make sincere dua for Ahid Bhai, who spearheads Crossroad podcast, Ya Allah, and Ilm City as well. Ya Allah, the great work, Raat Din ki mehnat throughout this month of Ramadan that they have done, accept these efforts in your bargah. Ya Allah, give them ajr wa jaza in the dunya, ajr wa jaza in the akhirah. Young brothers working for the cause of the Ahli Sunnati wal Jamaat, Ya Allah, give them istiqamat in this mission, give them ikhlas in this mission. Ya Allah, grant us all istiqamat and ikhlas within our deeds and actions. Ya Allah, allow us to respect and honor the ulama ikram. Allow us to take our deen from those people who are adab, and allow us to take our deen from those people who are drowned in the ishq and ghulami and mahabbat of Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Allah, we ask of you, those who are bamar, grant them shifai kamila ajila nafiya. Those who are be'olad, grant them neek or salih olad. Ya Allah, we ask of you, accept this dua in your bargah. What we could ask for, grant us. What we couldn't ask for, grant us as well. Accept all of our fast ibadat, tilawat of the Quran in your bargah that we have done in this month of Ramadan. Sami'na wa ata'na ghufranaka rabbana wa ilayka al-masir. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala habibihi Muhammadin wa alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.
Thank you very, very much for your time today, Imam Sahib. I know I agreed a shorter time period with yourself. We've taken a lot more time, but Jazakallah, bahut shukriya, and inshallah we'll do a discussion again soon, inshallah.
Chika, my brother, stay blessed and keep me in your du'as, and all those who are watching at this moment in time, especially make dua for my mother. Allah Almighty grant her shifai kamila ajila nafi'a. Bahut shukriya once again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.